Hello, everyone. Dr. Victoria Skirbo here, speaking to you again from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. We're going to look at the week ahead. It's a very busy week astrologically. I'm going to go back to the beginning a little bit and talk about the numerology and the like for this month, because I think it's important to just review that in light of what we see happening in the stars. So we'll get started with that. Let me just share my screen with you. And this will just take a moment. I have to start the slideshow. I'm feeling much better, by the way. Thank you very much for all your wonderful prayers and healing energy. It's made a huge difference. Really, this bout with COVID is, as far as I know, my first bout with COVID. I was vaccinated twice, the 2 vaccines that you're supposed to get. I did not choose to get the boosters. And so you know that at some point you're gonna get something. And it really felt like a really, really bad cold, but I did sleep for 3 days. So felt a little like Jesus there, wondering if I'd ever raised from the dead. But I did, and I feel different. And I think I needed those 3 days of rest. So that's enough about me. Let's talk about what's going on in August. All right, so we're looking just very quickly at the numerology of August. August is the 8th month. The 8th vibration is as you sow, so shall you reap. We are living through a 6 universal year vibration. 2 + 2 + 2 = 6. And that is the vibration of responsibility and community. When we add those 2 vibrations together, we get the vibration, the specific vibration for August 2022, which is a 14-5. Which is a karmic debt number and known as the number of the destroyer and the rebuilder. And so there's an energy of something tumbling down this month and the process of rebuilding. The 8th vibration, the vibration of the month, is a vibration of power, authority, giving, and receiving. This is a dependable organizer. So those dependable organizers out there have been very busy in August. I could use one, by the way. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I feel great. No, I really do. The needs to unify, reevaluation. Certainly, we've been going through a reevaluation process probably for the whole year, thanks to Saturn squaring the nodes. This is connected to the Strength card in the tarot, which is a Leo card. Of course, August, the sun is in Leo for the majority of the month. It is the Hebrew letter associated with this is Teth or Teeth, which is the serpent. And it is the 19th path on the tree of life, the intelligence of the secrets of all spiritual activities, aka the Kundalini. The universal year vibration of 6. Now, this is for the whole year. Truth, order, economy, deep inner knowing, service, responsibility, the depth of emotions. 6 years are very emotional, and it has been a very emotional year. We've had to go through a lot of difficult challenges. And, the whole world, not just, when I say us, I mean all of us, right? This is a love of home and family. It is connected to the Lover's card. The Lover's card is associated with Gemini. We have to remember that the Lover's card is not necessarily about lovers, but it's about choice. It's about choice. The Hebrew letter here is Zion, the sword. The 17th path is the separating or disposing intelligence. Gemini is an energy of duality. And this is the energy of duality. And we feel and understand and come to, in a way, appreciate that duality. And sometimes that requires us to see the extremes side by side. Okay. And then probably the most interesting part of this is the 14.5 vibration, the destroyer rebuilder vibration. According to Jean from Spiritual Light Vibrations by Jean, 14.5 is a karmic debt number. It is one of the great destroyer and transformational vibrations. It usually expresses the energy on the physical plane. And we have certainly have seen that with earthquakes and volcanoes and sudden floods that are just decimating areas and reshaping the actual face of the earth at this time. New original ideas and innovative concepts must be put into form and bring experiences of freedom and change in the outer plane. And we've seen that in this country with some of the stuff that the Democrats have passed. Certainly not enough, certainly not far enough, but certainly a beginning. There is an opportunity to bring balance into the physical things of life. This is also known as the path of the mystic. This is associated with the temperance card, of course, which is Sagittarius card. And the Hebrew letter is Samach, the prop or crutch. And this is the path, the 25th path, the intelligence of trial or temptation. And so this is where we must walk the straight and narrow. We are having a spiritual initiation. And while that sounds very high and mighty and lovely, it's usually just very, very difficult. And it takes a lot of our focus and our effort to put one foot in front of the other. But when we do, and when we apply ourselves, miracles happen. Miracles happen. Okay. So let's see where we're going to go next. So I just want to point out a couple of things that I did this month. We're not going to talk about week one, but I want you to notice that on week one, we had the explosion. Okay. And I'm just going to go through these very, very quickly. I'm not going to talk about them, but I just want to point this out. All right. So just bear with me. Week two, the wake-up call. That's what we just went through, guys. And you can go back and look at my other videos to know what all this meant. And now we're at week three, the tidal wave. The dam has broken, just like Liz Cheney said. And here we have a picture over here. This was a dam in California that failed. I don't know if you remember, that happened. I think it might have been this year, or it could have been last year. And the water came rushing in. So what does that really mean? Well, let's talk about each day. So today, August 14th, we have a sun opposing Saturn. Now, this is a point of awareness. Oppositions are always points of awareness. It's when two planets are as far away as they can be from each other. And so we have the clearest perspective. We're as far away from the problem and maybe even as far away from the solution but we can see it clearly. It's right in our face, right? And certainly we feel that. We see things right in our face, okay? This is a reality check. We're having a reality check. We are reaping what we have sown. Now that's true personally for each one of us. It's true for political figures. We can see that happening out there, right? Transiting Sun opposite Saturn can bring restrictions and hardship. It can bring a real struggle to overcome these limiting conditions because, as well as putting up barriers to progress, Saturn makes it harder to express yourself. So you may feel like you are at your lowest ebb. You may feel like you're at the end of your tether. And yet it isn't until the end of your tether that you have the full picture of what lies ahead and what it's going to take to get there. Luckily, Today, we also have Mars making a waxing trine to Pluto. Why is that important? Well, the Mars-Pluto relationship is extraordinarily important because Pluto is the soul and Mars is the conscious sort of soldier of the soul. And what sign Pluto's in now, as we all sit here living in the world, is in Capricorn, okay? And Capricorn is about power, and Pluto is about transformation. And so we're going through a process of transformation of the powerful, the structures of power. And there's a kind of a power over dynamic, a patriarchal, I'm going to tell you what you can do with yourself and who you are and what you stand for, what you can and cannot do. You know, Capricorn can be that authoritarian, but Capricorn is also the sign of the Redeemer. And so it's not just about the bad stuff and the rules and the regulations and it must be do this and the hierarchy, and the hierarchy will fall. We cannot have a top-down situation anymore because we're moving into the Aquarian age anyway. So this is really the last gasp of this. And so it seems like, you know, when you look at what happened with Roe v. Wade in the United States, you're like, how dare they? Well, this is their last gasp. This is their last attempt to put controls on us. Now, in another time, that might work, but not in the Aquarian age. It's not going to work. It's going to fall. It's going to fail. Okay. So back to Mars Pluto. I sort of went on a tangent there. This Mars Pluto, Mars is action, right? It's action. And Mars is in Taurus right now. Slow and steady. Mars just came off a conjunction to Uranus. Mars just came off a conjunction to the North Node. That's everything that happened when we had that first sort of week of explosions, or end of July, boom. Beginning of August, boom. Second week of August, oh, boom. And now, woo, right? So, sorry, I get excited. So this is the energy, right? So now we have this flow between Pluto and Mars. Pluto, the powerful, Mars, the action-oriented. This is creative self-expression. Mars trine Pluto transits give us a tremendous surge of goal-directed energy. So even though you're at the end of your rope, we have the energy, can you feel it, to do what needs to be done, creatively expressing, okay? Making you a very ambitious at this time. You can be assertive and direct in achieving your desires while maintaining harmony. Well, isn't that nice? This non-threatening approach encourages cooperation and impresses people in power. I actually got that from the Leo King, so thank you, Leo King. So let's take a look at this. We're going to look at the Sun Saturn opposition. I just want to point out that in this chart over here on the right, if I can find my pointer, I don't know where my pointer disappeared. Oh, here it is. Okay, I was just moving it too much. Here's Pluto. Here's Mars. It's not exact yet, because the opposition between the Sun and Saturn happened first. So a couple of things I want to point out about this. First of all, when we add August 14th, 2022 together, we get a 28-1 vibration. That 28-1 vibration is the two of wands. Okay, the two of wands. The guy standing there looking over the sea with the world in his hand, right? We know that card. Let me see if I can find it and I'll pull it up right away. So the two of wands usually indicates that we have created something home where we stand, and we want to see how we can take that information, that product, that idea, that inspiration. I might have said inspiration twice. It's a very inspiring time. And how are we going to share it with the world, right? I mean, that's kind of what that vibration means. And here we have the card right here, and we can see, oops, sorry guys. I know this is hard with the thing here. There we go. There's the card. Yeah, because I have the blur on. I couldn't do the background. So this is the vibration of the day. It's located in Hokmah on the Tree of Life, which is the Sephiroth of wisdom and also the Sephiroth of Uranus, the Great Awakener. And of course, Uranus couldn't be busier. So the Sun opposite Saturn is the halfway point of the Sun-Saturn synodic cycle, which brings illumination to the necessary structures that we need. This cycle began at the Sun-Saturn conjunction, which occurred on the 4th of February 2022 at 16 degrees of Aquarius. The Sabian symbol for 16 degrees of Aquarius, I ain't making this up, guys, is a big businessman at his desk. Interesting. The keynote, the ability to organize the many aspects of an enterprise involving a large group of human beings. A lot of double entendre here, I think. The keynote is the ability to organize the many aspects of an enterprise involving a large group of human beings. I said that, sorry. So I'm going to read this because this was the comment that Dane Rudger made. This is where I get this. Dane Rudger, Astrology, the Sabian symbols, 360 degrees in astrological mandala. He says a great deal of what is glowingly written about the Aquarian age is probably sheer glamour. The new age should be one in which man learns to use the power generated by human togetherness and group interplay. That is, to use it harmoniously for the welfare of the whole, of which all individual are parts, humanity, and the planet Earth. This means that we need to get in a relationship, not just with each other, which is challenge enough, but with the planet that we live on. Okay, this is the way. This is the Aquarian age, guys. This is the Aquarian age. And we're not all going to be running around with crystals on our head, although I might, because I like crystals. And you do get more psychic when you wear them on your head. But that's another story for another day, isn't it? Okay, so he calls this, the key word here, organization. It says organization should be the key word rather than the mere organization. For humanity now can and should realize that it is indeed an organism. We think we have dominion over the earth, but we are part of the earth. And in order to have dominion over the earth, we need to have dominion over ourselves. And I don't think we do. I think that we don't necessarily understand ourselves all that much. But as we connect our earthly self with our spiritual self, only connected, by the way, in the heart chakra, the place where the lower and the higher come together, only through love can we find this. And that has to be the way forward. Now let's take a look at this chart here. 1 second. I'll be right with you. If we look here at the chart, we can see Saturn in Aquarius sitting right at the bottom of the chart. This is a chart for the US. In a way, this is us at our lowest point. We can certainly feel that when we realize that the last president of the United States, Donald Trump, was willing to, for his own, or at least in my viewpoint, I should say, it could just be my opinion, has shown us both the strength of the system, because he is not the president, even though he keeps saying he is, but also a place to start, a new place to start, a new low perhaps, but we're going up from here, guys. Of course, we are having our Pluto return. That complicates things a bit. with the sun up there in the 10th house. You know, it's interesting that the week that Trump, you know, pretty much is raided by the FBI, is the same week that the Democrats pass all these bills that are going to help people. So there's a duality there, right? There's a duality there. So Saturn at 22 degrees of Aquarius, a rug is placed on the floor of a nursery to allow children to play in comfort and warmth. The warmth of understanding which comes to those who early in life are open to new possibilities. And the sun at 22 degrees of Leo, a carrier pigeon fulfilling its mission, spirituality in terms of training for service to mankind. This is, and you can see that this is square the nodes of the moon and square Uranus, right? With this giant T square in the sky. This is a spiritual initiation, 14.5. This is the process. And this square falls in the cardinal houses, which means initiation, new start. So we have a better understanding of where we've been and where we need to go. And we have the power of Pluto and Mars to help us get there today. This is significant, guys. Very significant time to be alive. Of course, we're dealing with Chokmah, right? And Uranus, the Great Awakener. Interestingly enough, if I would call Donald Trump anything, I would call him a Uranian influence, a maker of chaos, and a tester. Uranus tests the limits, and he certainly has done that. And what remains standing is good, and what has fallen by the wayside is perhaps it's time to let it go or rebuild it or refashion it in some way. August 16th, we have Mercury making a trine to Uranus. Mercury trine Uranus transit opens your mind to new possibilities. Ooh, we can certainly use some. There may be some exciting news, chance encounters with an eccentric. Maybe you'll meet me on the street. Probably not. I don't get out much. Or in some other way, stimulating people. This transit has a stimulating, electrifying effect on your thinking and your communications. On August 17th, which is, so the 16th is Tuesday. That is also the day that Liz Cheney has her primary. She gets primaried. So that'll be interesting to see. There might be something exciting news and unexpected for Liz. Who knows? On the 17th, which is a Wednesday, we have the sun in conjunct Neptune. As with all Neptune transits to the sun, things aren't quite clear. Utilization of imagination is required, yet an underlying sense of inferiority can impede your progress. So it pays to be humble. It pays to just hold it back just a little bit, because you could be wrong. Neptune, it's very easy to sort of go off the rails with Neptune. But if we stay fluid with Neptune, we'll be much better off. Let's talk about Mercury trine Uranus. So August 16th, 2022 vibrates to a 30/3. This is located in Hesed, the Sephiroth of Mercy and the Sephiroth of Jupiter. 30/3 is the Four of Wands. Many of the readers call that the Democratic Party, right? Woo, celebration, the Democrats win, right? So that's the vibration. I just have to do something here. I can't see what I wrote because I'm in front of myself. Okay, this is of particular significance because Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So the relationship between these two planets indicate a way in which we can utilize our minds to move into a more actuated and integrated state. Uranus reveals to us parts of ourselves that are part of us that we haven't been conscious of before. Uranus is the higher mind. Uranus is our higher vibrational selves. It's our possible future. It's our past and our past lives. It's our individuated unconscious. And so when Uranus gets activated, we get all of these flashes and we go, where the hell did that come from, right? That's Uranus. When you say, I don't know where this came from, but well, you probably still don't know where it came from, but it came from you and it came through Uranus generally. The thing with Uranus is it comes in little like blips and blips and blips. So you don't get a whole picture. It's kind of fragmented. But when we have these trines, the fragmentation is a little less so and a little easier to move. You have more fragmentation when it comes to the squares and stuff like that because they're traumatic. But this is flowing, remember? We had Mars and Pluto do that flow right at the beginning of the month. At the beginning of the week. Mars is Pluto is the higher octave of Mars. Now we have a flow between Mercury and Uranus. Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So we're talking about this galactic energy coming in to inform us how to move forward. Creative self-expression, great creative flow as Mercury channels its out of the box nature of Uranus. This began at the conjunction of Mercury and Uranus on the 18th of April 2022, which actually was also a 28-1 vibration, right? The Two of Wands, we talked about that like a minute ago. Hokmah, located in Hokmah, the Sephiroth of Wisdom, and the Sephiroth of Uranus. So we have Uranus, the higher octave of Mercury, talking to Mercury in a very flowing way on a day, at a root where we were dealing with Uranus. It's just, the connections are just astounding to me. This occurred at 14 degrees of Taurus. Well, what was the Sabian symbol for 14 degrees of Taurus? On the beach, children play while shellfish grope at the edge of the water. The keynote here is returning to simpler joys for revitalization. So there's a lot of the symbols that you will notice is that there's this symbols of rebirth, restarting, and simplicity. The North Node is in Taurus. There is nothing simpler than Taurus. Eat, beep, love, make food, make love, make poop, make a home, basic stuff. What do you need to live, right? Simple, the simple pleasures and the simple needs in life. And a lot of people are without those simple needs, especially housing. That's something that needs to be looked at, right? That's the next round, housing, I think, hopefully. So if we look at the Sabian symbols where the planets are now, we have Mercury at 19 degrees of Virgo. Mercury is very powerful in Virgo. Virgo is a Mercury ruled sign. A swimming race, this stimulation that comes from a group effort towards a spiritual goal. How about that? Trine Uranus at 19 degrees of Taurus, we remember this one, a new continent rising out of the ocean, a surge of new potentiality after a crisis. We are at such an exciting time. I actually had to stop a little while ago because I got so excited. I gave myself a stitch. And when you have COVID and you're coughing all the time, a stitch can turn into like something that will actually kind of paralyze you for the moment. So got to get to my chiropractor, honestly. As soon as I'm negative, I'm going to see my chiropractor. You can't adjust yourself because if I did, I'd be in much better shape. Okay, so let's go on. August 18th. There's something special about August 18th for me. What is that? I can't remember. It's a significant date for me. We have a waxing trine to Jupiter, Venus and Jupiter, the two benefics trining each other. Boy, can't we? Now you notice there's a lot of trines here. That's the flow. That's why the dam has broken. blow up, the alarm goes off, and everything flows. And it's not stopping, guys. This flow is going to continue well into the midterms and well into 2023. But we are on the right side of things. Know that. So Venus waxing trine to Jupiter is a highly creative flow of energy. Luck is on your side. A great aspect for relationships and fun. Fun? I had fun. I had fun at the wedding I went to. I did get sick, but it's all right. Everybody's good. Everybody's fine. We also have on the 18th, Mercury in conjunct Saturn. This is a little bit more challenging. So fun times will be fun, but work times will be challenging. Things may be more difficult than first imagined, yet hard work and due diligence will show results. This Mercury in conjunct Saturn is not going to, it's like a dog with a bone. It's not going to let it go. It's going to work it till there's not a speck of meat on that bone. Be careful not to overwork. That's one of the challenges here. The fun thing may help. So that's good. It can negatively affect your health. So be aware of that. So if it seems to be like really too much, go have some fun. There's fun around to have. So have it. Have it while we have it. August 19th, we have a last quarter moon in Taurus. This is the crisis in consciousness moon. This is the questioning of authority. This is a reevaluation. This is connected to the lunation cycle that began with that very powerful new moon in Leo. Remember the new moon in Leo, trine, a recently a stationary Jupiter. And that's sort of what started this whole thing, because it was right after that, at the end of July, that this whole huge explosion of change has come upon us. And so on the 19th, we have a little time to evaluate sort of where we're at. And of course, with the moon in Taurus, we're asking authority, well, all right, what are you going to do about money? What are you going to do about inflation? What are you going to do about price gouging? And some of that is in the works. So it's not like they haven't done it, but more of that's going to be, I think there's going to be a little bit more kitchen table stuff if we can drag ourselves from the fall of the mighty orange one. Anyway, we also have the sun in conjunct Pluto. On that day, you are forced to focus time and again on details that you would prefer to ignore. So the work is there, it's not going anywhere. You have to look at the details. You have to pay attention to the details. The devil's in the details, right? And then on August 20th, Mars ingresses into Gemini, where it will be until March 25th of 2023. Why? Well, because we have a retrograde cycle with Mars in Gemini. This is an extra long Mars transit, as it will retrograde in Gemini on October 30th. That's right before the election, right? November 3rd, I think, this year, until January 12th, 2023. Now, this is especially important because the United States has Mars in Gemini. And Mars in Gemini in the United States chart, or the Gemini energy in the US chart is if you use the Sibley chart, is the 6th and 7th house. So it's military, and it's people we cooperate with, and it's also open enemies. So there's going to be a lot of back and forth with that. And, I hate to make it so US centric, but, as the US goes, especially when it comes to the military, it affects the whole world. So it's important. Let's take a look at this very briefly. August 20th, 2022 was a 34/7 vibration. This is the 8 of Wands. We all know the 8 of Wands, right? All the wands coming, what is that expression? All the chickens coming home to roost. I think that's the expression. So know that there's going to be plenty of information, right? Coming through with this, coming through. And of course, we're dealing with Gemini. It's it's the sign of information. So talk about information. And we're going to be inundated. We're going to be inundated not only by the real stuff, but by the fake stuff as well, right? So when you feel yourself getting overwhelmed by information, you want to, in a way, not necessarily, you want to block it out. You want to make sure that the most valuable information is the information you get from your own heart. So when it all gets too crazy, go right to the center of yourself. All right, so here we have the chart. Interestingly enough, we have the ascendant of this chart at 26 degrees, 31 minutes of Cancer, which is right around the United States Mercury, which is at like 25 degrees of Cancer and retrograde. And of course, Pluto is very close to Pluto because we're having our Pluto return. We have Saturn here at 21 degrees of Aquarius. If we look at Uranus at 18 degrees here, this is getting tighter and tighter again. It's never going to be exact. It had its exact last square in 2021, but it's going to get as tight as it gets in October, of course, right? When Mars goes retrograde. So a lot of stress there. But we also have to look at Mercury, because Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and Mercury is in Virgo, another Gemini ruled sign. So this is Gemini-palooza, we're going to call it. So let's look over here. It says the 34-7, incidentally, is located in the Sephiroth of Mercury. Could we get any more mercurial? I don't think so. All right, so Mars ingress into Gemini. The first degree of Gemini is a glass bottom boat reveals undersea wonders. Undersea wonders. Undersea, the sea is usually symbolic of things that lie beneath that we're not always aware of, but things are we're gonna see a lot of sea monsters coming up. You know, the drain in the swamp, you're gonna see a lot of the sea monsters coming up for air, right? We'll see. The revelation of unconscious energies and submerged psychic structures. Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, is at 24 degrees of Virgo, also a Mercury ruled sign. Mary and her little lamb. The keynote here, the need to keep a vibrant and pure simplicity at the core of one's being as one meets the many tests of existence. And these many tests of existence is a 7-month-long journey of Mars through Gemini. Because Mars, along with Pluto, is the co-ruler of the South Node, that which comes through Mars' long journey through Gemini will illuminate what ideas and thoughts need to be released in order for us to evolve. So that's what's going on, people. Week 4, we have some growth, but we'll get to that next week. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed doing it. Just an announcement, I have decided to do a Patreon page. For those of you who want to support me, I will put a link up, hopefully by the end of today, if I can figure things out. I'm not really that technically savvy. I have to figure out Patreon, which scares me a little, but you know, it's just because sometimes my mind doesn't work that way. Anyway, so I'm going to have like a basic support that you won't get anything necessarily extra. It just helps support my channel so that I continue doing this kind of work for everybody, people who can afford to support me and people who can't afford to support me. But your beautiful words, I mean, I was sick as a freaking dog and I feel like a different person. And I know in part, it was because of all the beautiful love energy that I got from you guys. So I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Have yourself a wonderful week. Like and subscribe. Keep your eyes peeled for the Patreon announcement. And I promise next month I will get it together, and Ona and I will do a moonshine episode. We might need some moonshine for that one. Anyway, have a great week. I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Oops. Where am I? Namaste.